Good evening and welcome to my weekly 10 show. Where I'm going to be talking about positive thinking, something that a lot of people don't do enough of. So I'm going to talk about how it isn't just about positive thinking tonight. But before I do, I'm going to just mention that I'm still available for one-to-one coaching, and I'm still doing group coaching too. Some of you might have seen that I was at Dovegate Prison this week. It was an experience to go to a private prison, because I've never been to a private prison before, to be totally honest with you. All the prisons I'd been in the past were public prisons. So that was an experience in its own right, just to see what that was like. And overall, it was a really interesting and great experience, because I was in front of I think 50 roughly around 50 prisoners from the therapeutic community part of the prison, which houses people who are working on themselves and doing stuff to help deal with whatever it is they've got going on. And so we thought that it would help them, and so I went up there, and it was a really productive talk. And thankfully, hopefully, well, I know I am. I'm going back to see them, or not just them, but see more prisoners next time. I'm going to do another talk to the main part of the prison, which would be a lot of IPPs, lifers, that sort of thing. So that's going to be really interesting as well. And ultimately, hopefully, I will be able to coach some of these guys and help them along their journey a little bit. But I'm also working with everybody else. So it's not just prisoners I work with; it's everybody, anybody. But I do focus on my working with men, to be honest with you, men between the ages of 30 and 55 generally. So if you fall into that category and you want to find a coach to help you go from good to even better, get in touch with me. Right, I'm going to talk about tonight, what I'm talking about tonight. So I've been told, a lot of people say, when they've seen me doing my stuff, my talks and stuff like that, I love what you're doing with all that positive thinking sort of stuff. And I do get that quite a lot, because it's normal. I mean, people read books, we see talks and things like that. And our assumption there is, just if we think positive, things will be better for us. And that is true. It is true. So, but how many times have I actually heard that? And it's a natural assumption in order to, focus on how we can be our most happiest and most productive. But if all you had to do is just think positively, it would be so much easier to just be happy all the time, isn't it? I mean, so, ask yourself that question. Why aren't you happy all the time? If it's so easy to do, if it's so easy to just say, right, I'm just going to be positive thinking from now on and never ever going to have a problem in my life again, it would be easy, wouldn't it? It'd be great. Life would be perfect. There wouldn't be any wars. Everyone would be happy. The world would be in a much happier place generally. And everyone would be living the lives of their dreams. And that's all down to positive thinking. Guess what? No, it isn't. So why can't you be positive all the time? Why? If it's that easy, if all I have to do is think positive, why can't I do it all the time? And the answer to that is because you're a human being. And we're not programmed to think positively all the time. In fact, the opposite. We're programmed to see danger as it's an animalistic trait. It's the fight and flight thing. So we always look at the worst scenario in situations naturally. That's our normal way of doing things. The truth is, we actually spend more time focusing on counterproductive stuff, or thinking counterproductive thoughts and things like that, and feelings and our emotions and things like that, than we actually ever do productive. It's much easier for us to focus on what's wrong than what's right. We always see a problem before we see an opportunity. That's natural. It's normal. We all do that. And that's because we are not fully in control of our minds. In fact, 10% of our lives are spent in the moment, aware of what's going on, and the other 90% of the time we don't have a clue half the time what we're actually telling ourselves about anything, because it's all in the subconscious, and you're not aware of what's going on in your subconscious. So when you're going through your day, you're not aware of every thought that you're having, but you are still having thoughts, and that's because that's your subconscious dictating those thoughts. And, then 90% of that time, you're driven by those thoughts, the subconscious default setting thoughts, which guide us through life. And those thoughts are all created and influenced by your past beliefs, your past experiences, limiting beliefs, assumptions, fears that you might have, interpretations about events. Sorry, there's a baby crying behind me. It's not in my flat. But so these things all influence everything that we subconsciously tell ourselves about any situation that we're experiencing. So what that means is that we're never truly actually seeing any real situation with the clarity or objectivity that we really should be looking at it from, in order to make a conscious choice and decision based on facts, rather than what we believe to be true, which is not necessarily true. So that means that means the paper's put me off now. That means just thinking positively is not ever going to give you the life that you truly desire in your life. So if you read a book, or you read The Secret or something like that, and you think it's as easy as just thinking positively, I've got some bad news for you. I'm sorry, but the truth is you can do something that can help you create the life that you choose. And if you want to do that, think positively, create the life that you truly want out of life, then really what you need to do is understand how your mind works, your mindset. And you do that by giving yourself the opportunity to literally choose anything that you want, any thought that you want, any emotion that you want, and ultimately the actions that you want. So by learning about the mindset, you give yourself the opportunity to do that. So it may be that thinking from a level of perspective such as, conflict and victimisation may serve you in some situations. Sometimes we're not necessarily wanting to be frustrated or angry, but for instance, if I'm going to the gym and I want to motivate myself to push a bit harder, then I might get myself a bit angry. But the difference is are you angry by choice, or are you angry by default? If it's by default, then that influences everything else in your life. That influences your how you show up generally. So you can go through an entire day influenced by one belief or one way of thinking, and that would be conflict or victimization. And if you're living your life in that sort of mindset all the time, you're not moving forward. You're never going to move forward. You might move forward in small bursts, but it's not sustainable. So in order to really create a life that you truly actually want, you've really got to learn to use your mind and learn how to create a mindset which is always consistently highly energized. And the difference is, if you can, like I said, you can tune into being, low energy mindset if it serves you. But if you're aware of how your mind is working and how to do this, then you can choose that. You can choose the thoughts, the emotions that create those that situation. So, if I just said, if I was going to the gym, I might think something that I know would wind myself up, but I'm aware that I'm doing it. Because I'm aware that I'm doing it, I'm also aware enough to get myself out of that mindset when I need to. So as soon as I serve that purpose for whatever that level of energy did for me, that conflict driven energy, now I don't want to be feeling that. So now I want to feel much more, optimistic, calm, peaceful, all of those things, right? So how do I do that? So I tune into that. I tune into those thoughts that I'm creating, that creating the emotions, and I change them to a perspective that I know is going to create an emotion, like calmness or peace or mind or something. And by creating that perspective, I create the emotion, and that creates the action. So this is what the difference is between just thinking positively and actually knowing how your mind works and how you can use that to create something with your life. And that's essentially what I do with my clients, one-to-one. I do that. I help them create that. It's not an overnight process. Nothing is that's worth learning. And so if you do want to learn that, you've got to put the time in. You've got to put the effort in. You can't just learn it and think you can pick it up when you want to and put it down when you want to. If you do that, you won't move forward. So you've got to do it consistently and learn it and practice it and practice it and practice it until it becomes part of you. And it will. And this is how it works with me now. It took me a long time to practice this stuff and live it. And now I'm living it. Now I'm breathing it. Now I'm doing everything naturally. And this is why my life is so busy at the moment. And so I've got so many different great opportunities going on. Every single day another opportunity lands on my lap. This is because of the way I'm conducting my life. It's because of the energy that I'm using, I'm tapping into daily. If I wasn't doing that, if I was always low energy, I wouldn't be getting any of those opportunities. I'd only have problems, more and more problems. And believe me, if I want to focus on problems, I can focus on problems. I've got plenty of them. But I don't see them as problems. I see them as opportunities to grow. So, so basically, it's not about positive. It's not just about thinking positive. That's important. Yes, it's good to think positively as much as you possibly can, because when you're doing that, you're bringing yourself to awareness. By practicing awareness, you're becoming much more consciously aware of what's going on in there. And if you're aware of that, you're able to start changing perspectives and emotions and so on. So this is really what it comes down to, learning how to be much more self-aware and much more in control of how your thinking is at any given moment. So, once you create that solid mental foundation, the process is you can't unlearn it. All you can do is keep building upon that, building. You just get stronger and better at it over time. It's just learning that foundation is the key for you, because once that's in place, that's it then. And you can wait 10 years before you start practicing it, but as long as you've learnt it, you can still put it into practice. And that's the beauty of this thing that I do now. So my 5-month program, it consists of a process of learning, which is like I said, when put into practice, is consistently, literally cannot fail to bring you success in your life in whichever way you choose to measure it, or give you the life that you choose to experience. So your self-esteem will rise, your confidence will rise, you'll become much more fearless, you're self-aware, you'll be accepting of yourself and everything else around you, you'll be less worried, less anxious, what else? You'll be that sort of like a glass half full sort of person all the time. So you're always sitting, and some of my mates will tell you this, pisses them off, because I'm always the one who's seeing it from the positive side when they're all having a moan about the football or something. So, you consciously choose how you want to show up. You see opportunities and not problems. And if you're seeing opportunities, you're always moving forward, because one door opens another door and another door opens another door and so on. Before you know it, you're creating things that you could never have dreamed of before. And this is exactly what I'm doing now. So if you're interested in working with me one-to-one, I would suggest you get in touch with me and give me a call, and then we can set up a free 1-hour session. And it's again, there's no ties. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But the hour session is free. And get in touch if you want to find out more about it. All right. Have a good evening and speak to you all next time. Bye. Oh, there is it. There it is.